How's it going, everyone? Dylan and I are back. We are going to be talking about the playoffs. NBA playoffs are starting. Technically, the playoffs don't start until Saturday. Recording this on the 14th, the Monday. Uh, don't start on Saturday, but I know the play-in technically is in the playoffs, but I kind of just consider the play-in playoffs. So we're recording this the day before the play-in starts. Basically, we're gonna change things up instead of just showing Dylan and I. Gonna cross my fingers that you guys can see the bracket I have up on the screen. Which, by the way, I can't like see myself. So if I'm like look like I'm staring off into space or anything, it's because I'm just staring at like my bracket, which I haven't done this before. So it's just weird for me if I'm all over the place with my eyes or whatever. Because my view is probably different than your guys' is. But yeah, pretty much, I think how it works. We're just gonna go through the round by round, talk about all the matchups, pick a winner for each series we have, and yeah, that's how it works. So I think a decent way to do this might be uh, just start with the plan, I guess. So I guess I'll start first. So the plan again kind of can be complicated now that it's what 4 years into it. I've kind of gotten used to the formatting, but basically, uh, Tuesday, so tomorrow we have Hawks Magic. The winner of that is the 7 seed. They'll face my team, the Celtics, in round one. Yeah, ESPN even has it preloaded here. The 8 seed's a little bit different though. Basically, the loser of the 7 seed matchup, so whoever loses between Orlando and Atlanta, uh, falls to I guess, the losers bracket. I don't know if that's the official name of it. Uh, like the second round of the play-in, and they play the winner of the 9-10, which is uh, the Bulls are the 9, the Heat are the 10. So whoever wins that game faces the loser of Orlando Atlanta. I probably we're not going to spend too much time in the play-in because not too optimistic on most of the play-in teams. I think we can probably all agree on that, except the Warriors maybe. So yeah, basically Tuesday, tomorrow's games, I have the Magic winning against the Hawks. Can definitely go either way, but just trust the Magic a bit more. They're kind of getting hot right now. That pause. Kind of heating up now. Hawks just been inconsistent all year. That's kind of been their thing. They win one, lose one, win two, lose two. That's kind of how they've been the past couple seasons. So I could definitely see the Hawks winning, but I'm just going to trust the Magic a bit more tomorrow at home too. So I have the Magic winning and being the 7 seed. So then the Heat and Bulls. Again, that one can go either way, but the Bulls have been kind of picking it up lately. They've been on a bit of a streak. They finished a couple games under 500, but they've they've been playing a lot better compared to how they were most of the year. The Heat, after the Butler trade, were a disaster, but they've kind of been playing a bit better too. And the Heat always somehow make it out of the play-in. But I'm just going to trust the Bulls a bit more. They're at home. They're just playing better than the Heat right now. I'm going to trust them a bit more. So I'm going to pick the Bulls to move on in the 9-10 matchup, meaning it'll be my bracket Hawks and or sorry, not Hawks. Or yeah, Hawks and Bulls for the 8 seed. So they would play the Cavs round one. That can definitely go either way, but I'm just going to trust the Hawks a bit more in that matchup. So basically, my East playing bracket, I have the Hawks as the 8 seed and the Magic as the 7 seed. I have my East playoff play-in bracket rather.
Yeah, so I agree with you on one and disagree on the other. So I actually, of course, I have the Magic. The Magic, I think, probably deserve to be a little bit. I mean, you could even put them in the top echelon of the Eastern teams. I think they could actually be pretty good this year, and they were so far this past year. I would say that the only reason why I think Atlanta's a little bit more beat up this year. I'm gonna go with the Magic to take the 7 seed, and then in that play-in game with the Heat and the Hawks, or the sorry Bulls, I'm gonna go with the Heat. I think the Heat are just like you said, they always somehow make it into this playoff picture every year. I think I'm gonna rely a little bit more on the Heat, but again, that's another 50-50 game. It seems like these two teams always match up in the beginning, in the play-in, and I'm gonna take the Heat this time again. So.
Yeah,
Uh, my 8 will be the Heat, and then my 7, because I have the Heat beating the Hawks for the 8 seed. And then I have Orlando being the 7 seed.
yeah. Bulls and Heat. I mean, this is going to be, I believe, the third year in a row they've matched up in the play-in. Because I know 2 years ago when the Heat made that Cinderella run to the finals, which wouldn't have happened if Tatum didn't hurt his ankle, but that's okay. Uh, they were down pretty by a decent margin to the Bulls late in Miami. They came back to win. Otherwise, they wouldn't have even made the playoffs. It would have been the Bulls as the eighth seed. And then I know last year they just wiped the Bulls off the floor in Miami. So this will be the third year in a row they play. Um, yeah, hang on, I had some notes here. If I can scramble through my shit here. Um, okay, actually, here's something I wrote. The Heat are 0-3 versus the Bulls this regular season. Now, obviously, you don't want to base everything off the regular season, but I mean, especially if you're 0-3, I think that might be something to keep in mind there. The Hawks and Magic are 2-2, so they split. Definitely, we're both going the Magic there. Um, yeah, in the West, and then actually Chicago's two and I know you have the Heat, but I have the Bulls against the Hawks. The Hawks and Bulls split 2-2. So pretty much I think East, the playing games are just 50-50. Besides, we're like fairly confident with the Magic, except definitely I could see the Hawks winning that. Like none of the playing games, I'm like, oh, 100% confident. They're all can kind of go either way, I think. Uh, in the West, we have let me go back to my screen here. So yeah, we get the 7 seed matchup between Warriors, Grizzlies. See, now that could be interesting. And then the 9-10 matchup is 9 is the Kings and 10 is the Mavs. In the 7-8 matchup, I'm gonna lean Warriors. If the Warriors though are 0-3 in the play-in, so that might be something to note. And then Jimmy Butler just got hurt yesterday. He said he's fine. And you know the Grizzlies and the Warriors, it seems like they kind of play each other tight over the past couple seasons. But I'm just gonna trust the Warriors more. I mean, I, I know they're 0-3 in the play-in, but I have a hard time seeing them lose to the Grizzlies in the play-in, who are they fired Taylor Jenkins. They're just kind of playing with house money at this point, it feels like. I'm just going to trust the Warriors more, bounce back after that tough Clippers loss. So I have the Warriors as the 7 seed. And then I mean, Kane's Mavs. I mean, I'm not optimistic about either of these teams. I'm just going to lean Canes. I mean, the Mavs are just beat beyond hell injury wise. Sacramento is not too great. They're floating around 500, but I just trust the Canes a bit more. So, and then so that means I have, yeah, Grizzlies, Canes. I'm leaning Grizzlies. I'll pick them over the Canes. I trust them a bit more. So basically, what all that means in short is I have the Warriors as the 7 seed and the Grizzlies as the 8 seed for the West play in.
So I agree with you on the 7 or the to get into the 7 seed. I have Golden State knocking off Memphis as well. Like you said, I just trust them more. That's just a safer pick for me. I know that you said they are 0-3. I think this year they're gonna be 1-3 because I think that they're gonna take out Memphis. Like you said, there's a lot of drama in that organization right now. Just gotta go with the safe pick. I'm gonna go with the Warriors. The Kings and the Mavericks. I'm gonna put a little statement out there. I think the Mavericks can beat the Kings easily. I think they could win this game. I think I would consider even throwing some money down on it. I'm gonna go with a statement win for the Mavericks to knock off the Kings and eliminate them. And then, of course, in the next game, I just have Memphis blowing them out. I think that Memphis takes the 8 seed, and I think that's going to solidify the playoff bracket.
Yeah, I think we can definitely both agree that if somehow either the Kings or Mavs get the 8 seed, they're both just going to get immediately wiped out by the Thunder. I would be surprised if that is not a sweep, the Kings or the Mavs. I know the Mavs obviously beat them last year, and obviously they much different situation this year. Grizzlies could be interesting though.
They are.
Um,
It's like they're very sneaky, but like they're also not at the same time. So it's like a little iffy on that one. But
yeah. I mean, the Grizzlies were I think they were the three seed, and then they moved down to five, and then they fired Taylor Jenkins. But it's a little bit misleading just looking off the seeds because like the Timberwolves, for example, the six seed, and they only won, and they're playing the Lakers, who were the three seed in the first round, and the Lakers only won one more game than them, and there's
Yep,
a three seed difference, so it's razor thin in the West. Pretty much everything that I've seen, and I think we can both agree, the West is just an absolute gauntlet. The East, I mean, we haven't really talked too much about our predictions to each other, but I think we both are thinking the East is coming down to two teams, and otherwise than that, it would be a bit of a surprise.
very much so. Very much so. Especially, I have a couple nice some picks over on the right side from the East right now that I have some hot takes. So,
Yeah.
mm.
So now that we got past the play-in here, so basically I have a Cavs Hawks matchup, and then who do you have as the eighth seed again?
The Heat.
Okay, so you have the Heat as the eight. Okay, so that could actually be interesting. I mean, I think the Cavs going to win either way, but I mean, knowing the Heat, they'll have one game where they shoot 500 threes and make 400 of them and probably win a game, knowing the Heat so well as a Celtics fan. So basically, yeah, I have Cavs Hawks. That could actually be interesting. The Hawks are 2-1 versus the Cavs this season, and their two wins came in like a short time. Seemed like they played, then they played a couple days later. Might have been like 2 days later, something like that. And the Hawks beat them both times. It was early in the year. I think that was right after we beat the Cavs, and they were 15-0. We gave them their first loss, and the Hawks I think gave them two in a row, including the in-season tournament. They beat them. Uh, Again, I don't mean to hype the Hawks up too much. I had the Cavs in five. If Cavs Hawks, I mean sorry, I know I thought I just said Hawks in five. I was like, what the hell am I saying? I have Cavs in five. I'll give the Hawks a game. I think they'll probably have a game where they shoot the lights out. Uh, just play well. Maybe game three or four. But yeah, I would be surprised if that goes beyond five. I have the Cavs kind of easily moving on in a gentleman's sweep in that matchup.
So,
Um,
yeah, I actually have the same exact thing except for the Heat. So I have the Heat moving on to the 8 seed, and I have the Cavs beating the Heat in 5. So I'm
yeah.
pretty correct on that one. Yeah. That is-
So I'll advance the bracket here. Okay, this is when it get actually. Should we? Do you want to run through like each conference first, or do you want to go like round by round?
I said we go round by round.
All
Make it
right,
interesting.
yeah, that's probably more entertaining. All right, so I have Thunder Grizzlies. I was contemplating giving the Grizzlies a game, but I'm going to say the Thunder sweep them. They're also 4-0 against the Grizzlies this year. Now, they're going to really beat them 8 out of 8 times. And the Grizzlies, again, they're the 8 seed, but they're not a typical 8 seed. They're not as bad as an 8 seed normally is. So I think at most the Grizzlies get a game. They're playing with house money. I mean, they don't have much to lose at this point. Maybe they get a game, but I had the Thunder in four.
Yep, that's exactly what I have. I have the Thunder in 4 as well. I don't think that. I think people are overthinking. Maybe Grizzlies can sneak out a game. I think when it comes down to the wire, I mean, the ball's going to end up in Shea's hands, the J-Dub's hands. I don't know. I'm going with the Thunder in 4 as well.
Yeah. Um. Okay, this is when it starts to get interesting.
Yep.
Pacers Bucks. So the Pacers obviously this is literally the same exact matchup. Actually not exactly seeding wise. The Bucks were the three last year. The Pacers were the six. But obviously this is a rematch of the first round last year. Everyone last year just kind of assumed the Bucks were going to win, and then some injuries started to pile up, I think. And the Pacers obviously ended up winning, going to the conference finals, and were giving me a heart attack, even though we swept them. Uh, I am picking the Pacers to move on. And again, now the Pacers are favored in this series. It's not like I'm going bold. The Bucks are just Dame obviously has blood clots. Hopefully he comes back, but I assume he's at least going to miss a few games. Obviously, each game in a 7 game series is going to matter. Pacers have been playing good basketball lately. The Bucks actually have been too, but the Pacers, I don't know. I think they're better than they were last year. They beat the Bucks last year. The Bucks again dealing with some injuries. I just trust the Pacers. Again, it's ironic their name is Pacers because their pace is insane. The Bucks, obviously, I think they're the oldest team in the league, so maybe the pace is going to be an issue for the Bucks. I have the Pacers in what the hell's what did I write? Six. I had the Pacers in six. I almost said five, but I'm like, I'll get the Bucks 2 games.
I'm gonna let you finish out your bracket because I'm gonna possibly change a couple of things that's gonna be in your bracket down the road. So
All
I'll
right.
let you finish your bracket and then you could select it for me when I'm up or whatever.
All right, yeah, that would make sense. We probably should have saw this before. That's okay.
It's all right.
Nuggets Clippers. Okay, this is another very interesting series because obviously Michael Malone got fired, so that makes it more interesting. But then you can argue, usually when you fire a head coach, and now all the reports are coming out that it was toxic, the players kind of got a morale boost, and I'm pretty sure they won their last 3 games with Adelman. That's his name, right? Not
Yep.
okay,
It's
yeah.
yeah.
And
Yep.
so yeah, they've looked pretty good. They slaughtered the Rockets yesterday. Um, which I didn't watch the game, but I saw Ime said they were playing with their full rotations and they blew them out if that was true. The Clippers red hot. I'm picking the Clippers in six, but I could literally see this. I would not at all be surprised if the Nuggets won. And I know I'm saying Clippers in six. I almost said seven. I could see Clippers in five. I don't think it's too far fetched to say Nuggets in six. I just think the interim head coach is going to be a bit too much to overcome. Clippers just playing good ball right now. They're deeper than the Nuggets. I just trust the Clippers a bit more, but I think that's going to be an absolute gauntlet of a first round matchup. Um, Lakers Timberwolves. This could be interesting. I'm picking the Lakers, but okay, yeah, I said in six. I was back and forth between five and six, but I picked the Lakers. I just trust the Lakers more. And again, I mentioned earlier it's a bit misleading with the seedings. The Lakers won 50 games, the Timberwolves won 49. So just one more win for the Lakers with a 3 seed difference. So maybe a bit misleading seeding wise. But the Timberwolves have just been up and down this year. They look good, then they go in a rough patch. It's just back and forth. Obviously, 49 wins is nothing to shrug over. Really good season for the Timberwolves. Obviously, not as great of a season as they had last year, at least from a record seeding perspective. They were the 3 seed last year. They had 50 something wins. I can't exactly remember the yeah, I can't remember the 50 whatever. It was 50 something wins. Can't remember the number exactly. But yeah, I just trust the Lakers more. JJ Redick, I actually think I was very skeptical on the hire, like a lot of people, but I actually think he's done a really nice job this year. Now you can argue that obviously he is LeBron and Luca, and the Lakers were kind of floating around 500 until they made the Luca trade. Then they kind of took off to where they are now. But I just trust the Lakers more. Uh, yeah, I just trust the Lakers more pretty much. I definitely think at minimum it goes five. I don't think the Lakers sweep them, but I'll give the Timberwolves 2 games. They can play some really, really good defense. And yeah, and the Lakers don't have a center. And this is kind of the discussion I've been seeing is that Mark Williams trade that got not vetoed, but canceled because of his failed physical is going to probably come to bite the Lakers at some point. The Timberwolves, obviously, the double big lineup with Nas and Rudy, and Nas can obviously is a stretch; he can shoot threes, so that might hurt them. But I'm gonna again just pick the Lakers, trust them a bit more. So yeah, Rockets, then Warriors, and whatever. Oh yeah. Okay, I'll just go back to Knicks Pistons. Okay, so back to the East here. Just go crisscross. Um, Knicks Pistons. Yep. I have the Knicks in. Okay, so I have the Knicks in five, which might be a bit controversial. I definitely don't think they sweep the Pistons. I almost said Knicks in six. I just think the Pistons are they overachieved this year. Obviously, I mean they've more than tripled their win total from last year. They're kind of playing with house money at this point. I think obviously they're I think in a better spot than the Grizzlies are now, who I said also were playing with house money. But the Pistons, I think, are obviously at an excellent season, amazing season from the Pistons. They actually went, I believe, 3-1 versus the Knicks this season. They just beat them like a week ago, maybe even less than that. And it was a comeback win. They came from behind to win the game too. The Knicks, I know I'm not too high in the Knicks. I don't think you are really high in them either. I call them the fraud York Knicks, but I'm just going to trust them more. I have them in 5. I think the Pistons will definitely get a game. The Pistons can play really aggressive, really tough, though. So I definitely see 6, but I'm going to pick the Knicks here to move on to the second round. Then crisscrossing back over here. So this is maybe when it gets a bit controversial. I have the 2 seed Rockets, then the 7 seed, and I know it says Golden State / Memphis, but in my scenario, I have the Warriors as the 7 seed, so just pretend the Memphis isn't there. I am picking the Warriors, and I have the Warriors in 6. Now, I don't mean to disrespect the Rockets, but like the young, inexperienced Rockets against the Warriors, who they know the clock's ticking. Steph's up there. He's almost 40. Jimmy Butler's getting up there too. Draymond's up there in age. They know that they're not going to have too many shots left at this. They're much more experienced than the Rockets. We kind of saw this with the Canes 2 years ago. The Canes kind of were the better team than the Warriors throughout the year. It felt like, but the experience factor, I think, factored in at the end. The Warriors ended up blowing them out in Game 7. Now, it was thanks to Steph's at the Game 7 scoring record until Tatum broke it the next round after against the Sixers in the semis, Game 7. But yeah, I just trust the Warriors a bit more, even though I think the Rockets, they're what is their they are find my notes here. Oh, they're 3-2 versus the Rockets, so they played 5 games. They played them once in the play-in tourney. So yeah, again, you don't want to factor regular season record too much into the playoffs here, but I think it's something, especially a 5 game sample size. I know it's controversial. Don't want to disrespect the Rockets. My old guy, Ime, over there coaching, obviously, he's done a hell of a job. I would not at all be surprised if the Rockets won. I definitely think they'll get at least 2 games, but I'm just going to trust the Warriors a bit more. Um, and then moving back, my last first round matchup, Celtics. And again, I have the Magic. Yeah, obviously I'm picking Celtics. I was back and forth between 4 and 5, but I think the Magic will probably get a game. We usually have a game every series where we just screw around and don't play our hardest. Plus, the Magic can be a really good defensive team. I'll give them a game, but definitely picking Celtics here.
Crazy upset right there, I'll tell you that. The Celtics beating the Magic. Oh my gosh. Huge
Yeah,
upset.
yeah, yeah. I will say though that if it is the Hawks, now I'm not going to be concerned that we're going to lose the series, but think that could be. I think the Hawks match up better with us than the Magic from like the non-Celtics fan perspective. Like if you're rooting against the Celtics. Now, I think we'd probably beat the Hawks in 5, but they always play us tight. It seems like we at least split with them every year. We played them in the first round 2 years ago, and it went 6. It would have went 5 if Trae Young didn't make a ridiculous shot at the end of the game, but it went 6. So the Hawks honestly scare me a bit more than the Magic. Not scare, but I think the Magic are the easier of the 2 teams for us in the first round. Thunder Clippers. I have the Thunder moving on. What did I write? In 6. I almost said 5. Now the Thunder, I believe they swept the Clippers this season. Yeah, they're 4-0 versus the Clippers, but I don't think they'll sweep the Clippers. I think the Clippers will definitely at least get a game. I mean, who knows? Maybe they will. The Thunder are insane this year. I think the Clippers will at least get a game. But I'll give the Clippers 2 games. I have enough respect for the Clippers. The Clippers have just had a super quiet season. They've always been the little brother compared to the Lakers, obviously, but especially after the Luka trade, they've had a quiet season. But yeah, I just trust the Thunder more. They match up well with the Clippers, I think. They match up well with pretty much any team. They're such a good defensive team, can switch anyone on anyone. Good offensive team, obviously, very efficient. I just trust the Thunder more over the Clippers. Cavs Pacers. Now this could be interesting. I'm definitely picking the Cavs. I had the Cavs in six, but I think the Pacers are another underrated team. Not a lot of people talking about them. I think they could give the Cavs some issues here. I have them winning 2 games, going six. Again, I mentioned the pace earlier. The Cavs have kind of come back down to earth after they were absolutely on top of the mountain. Now they finished with 60 something wins, so obviously they had an excellent season, but they've kind of been playing 500 basketball for a few weeks now, and the Pacers are getting red hot. Um, so I think the Pacers could give the Cavs some issues there. Definitely shootouts in a lot of those games, I think. But I'm going to trust the Cavs more. I have them in six, but I'm going to tell you, if the Pacers upset the Cavs, I would be a little surprised, but it wouldn't be like the biggest upset. Like, I would believe it, not be too shell shocked, but definitely the Cavs moving on in that matchup. Lakers, and again, I have the Warriors here. I'm picking the Lakers. I wish this was the round one matchup. I think Lakers Warriors would have been more entertaining than Lakers Timberwolves, even though Lakers Timberwolves will be a good matchup too. Um, yeah, Lakers. I just trust them more than the Warriors. The Warriors are actually both the Lakers and the Warriors are really weird. Like one game, it's like this team can make it finals push, and then the next game, it's like Jesus Christ, like what are these guys doing? The Warriors, I definitely could see them pulling off the upset, but we saw this in the second round a couple of years ago, and the Lakers obviously won in six. Now again, the Lakers, the problem they gave the Warriors that series and a lot of teams was size with Anthony Davis. The Lakers, again, as I was mentioning earlier, talking about the first round matchup against the Timberwolves, don't have a center, so they just play small ball. The Warriors obviously are a not a small ball team, but they um they match up better with the Lakers now than they did a couple years ago, and they pushed them a couple years ago. I know they were down 3-1, but it still went six again, and they're better than they were a couple years ago in that matchup with Jimmy Butler obviously getting added to the team. I could see the Warriors pulling off the up. I don't even. I guess an upset seeding wise, the Lakers I think would be favored if this matchup happened, but I definitely could see the Warriors pulling, I guess, the upset off. But I have the Lakers. If I didn't say it already, I had the Lakers in six in this hypothetical matchup here. Yep, here's an easy one. Obviously picking the Celtics. I have us in five. I think the Knicks will probably get a game. Uh, and I also haven't mentioned this yet. Jaylen Brown dealing with a knee injury. The one thing I think that's going to stop us this postseason is health. Now, Jaylen Brown, he's supposedly good to go. He's probably not going to be at 100%. I think obviously we'll be fine against the Magic or the Hawks. Next series of Jaylen Brown still not playing, like Jaylen Brown, I think this is when I think we'll win anyway, but I think this is when it could start to show up. And then against the Cavs is when I'm going to start to get seriously concerned. But regardless, I have us against the Knicks. I mean, we've owned the Knicks the past 2 seasons. They beat us once in the past 10 matchups. And it was late last year where we had the top overall record clinched, only a couple games left, and we weren't playing for anything. That's their one win against us. We swept them this season. Yeah, this I don't know. I feel confident this matchup happens. Final four here. So Thunder Lakers. Now this I have gone back and forth on. I have picked the Thunder since the preseason to win the West and go to the finals, represent the West in the finals. But the Lakers, ever since they blew out the Thunder a couple weeks ago, not even a couple weeks ago, it was like a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, and then they played like 2 days later, and they were neck and neck, and then the Thunder caught a break with the Luka ejection. Otherwise, the Lakers may have won that game. The Thunder ended up steamrolling them basically to win that game after Luka got tossed. Now, unfortunately, this is going to be a part of it. Unfortunately, what team between the Thunder and the Lakers is the NBA going to want in the finals? It's going to be the Lakers because A, it's the Lakers, just franchise alone compared to the small market Thunder. And B, obviously LeBron and Luka. The league's going to want them over in the finals over the Thunder. So watch out for maybe some BS calls in this series. And speaking of BS calls, obviously SGA has the reputation of a free throw merchant. The playoffs, it seems like they don't call nearly as many whistles, so his SGA's free throw is going to go down, especially in this series. We saw, I think, when the Lakers blew them out, he barely had any free throws. Maybe that was a preview of how it's going to be officiated. So honestly, I was kind of leaning the Lakers the past week or so, and then I thought about it more and more, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna stick to my gut. I'm gonna pick the Thunder. I know it's bold, pick the young Thunder over LeBron and Luka and the Lakers, but again, as I was talking about the Thunder, they just match up well with pretty much anyone. And even though they're inexperienced, well, again, that's kind of an argument itself. Is inexperienced like even an argument? But I think it is. Even though I'm going against my argument here with experience, obviously the Lakers much more experienced than the Thunder here, at least with LeBron and Luka. I'm picking the Thunder. I definitely think it's tight. I would not at all be surprised if the Lakers win the series if it happens, but I'm picking the Thunder in six. I think this series is when the Lakers, their ultimate downfall is going to be kind of those games where they just look bad. I think there's going to have too many of them, and I'm just leaning Thunder in this one. Cavs, Celtics. Now I'm picking my team, but I would not. I'm fairly confident, but I'd be lying if I'm like, oh yeah, like no sweat whatsoever. I'm picking my team. That's how I am with the Magic and the Knicks here. The Cavs, we split with them this year, but I know the first matchup we won. That was when the Cavs were undefeated. We gave them their first loss, and they were banged up. They were missing a decent amount of guys. The second matchup, we were pretty injured. We blew a lead. They won. The third matchup, we won. I think we were both pretty much fully healthy. Then the last game, we were up what 25 to 3, 25 to 2 or 3, one of the two, I believe, and we ended up blowing it. But we were missing Porzingis and Holiday that game. Now, do I believe the Cavs can beat us? I I could see the Cavs beating us, but I'm just trusting my team more. I think again, going back to the experience, my team faced it a couple years ago against the Warriors in the finals, where we were up 2-1. Then we had a lead at home in the fourth quarter, and then I think our inexperience showed compared to the Warriors, and they just ended up clutching up better than us. They won the next 3 games. I think that could play a factor here, but now we're the team of the experience. So the Cavs maybe have a lead late. We ended up coming back, going on an insane run, win a game like that. I have us winning this series in 6. And again, the Cavs have come back down to earth, as I mentioned, it seems like, the past few weeks, and we have been red hot for a while now. The only recent losses I can think of are the Mavs. That was a bad loss. Your team, the Thunder, and then well, we just lost the Magic, but we didn't play anyone. But those are really the only losses off the top of my head that I can remember. And then the Heat, of course the Heat against us. But yeah, I'm trusting my team more against the Cavs, but I would not be shell shocked if the Cavs upset us, especially with Jaylen Brown, all his injury concerns. So sorry, I don't mean to keep talking so long. I feel
Oh,
bad.
no, this is good
But
analysis. Good. Keep going. Yeah.
okay, this is my preseason matchup. I had Celtics Thunder from the preseason. I had the Thunder as the 1 seed, so if that happens, I'll be happy. I had the Celtics as the 1 seed too, obviously with the 2 seed. Um, this is the Thunder scared the shit out of me. All right, so spoiler, I'm picking my team. I'm picking us in 6. I would not at all be surprised if the Thunder won. This is very difficult for me to pick. Um, Again, the Thunder, I mean, we obviously played them twice this year and they beat us both times. And just both games, we really did not look that great. And just anytime we went on a bit of a run, it looked like we were getting back in the game. The Thunder would make a couple of defensive plays, make a couple of baskets, get the lead back. They they match up well with everyone, as I keep mentioning. Just keep beating that drum. We do too, to that extent. But again, I was just talking about experience. I think that is going to come into play here. This kind of reminds me of a couple of years ago, as I was just talking about Celtics Warriors. Obviously, we're not as experienced as the Warriors, but the Thunder are just they're very inexperienced. We were even more experienced than the Thunder when we were in the finals against the Warriors. And I mentioned that game four we were up, then the Warriors made a run late in crunch time. They won the next couple. I can see that being a big factor where the kind of like the Cavs I was just mentioning, maybe the Thunder are up at home, critical game. Then the Celtics go on an insane run. We end up taking control of the series. I I don't want to say the moment's too big for the Thunder because I don't think it will be if they make it this far, but I don't really know how else to say it. I would not at all be surprised if the Thunder won. This, out of all the teams in the NBA, the Thunder definitely scare me the most. I think in the West, the Thunder don't win. I think we match up with the Lakers very well, which obviously I'm sure the league wants a Lakers Celtics finals, especially the Lakers not having a center. Porzingis in the post would just absolutely wreck in that series. So maybe I'm a bit biased here as a Celtics fan, but I have the Celtics in six repeating. Then for this tiebreaker, the hell did I write? Basically, I'm just going to assume it's Tatum. So I just took a guess that he'll average, I think, is a 28 this postseason. Maybe he'll get up one more point somewhere around that range with Brown being injured a game, something like that. So basically, I have us in 17 games. Yeah, 17 games if you add up all the series here. So basically, it's basic math. That means I have Tatum at 476 points. Obviously, that's a complete shot in the dark. I'm sure there's much better ways to do it, but I'm not going to really put that much thought into it because I'm sure my bracket's going to get blown up anyway. Um, so yeah, I guess that's my my bracket.
Awesome. Yeah. So I see that we only have like 2 minutes left. I think the best thing is to just restart it after, and then
Yeah.
we'll bracket, and then we'll go from there. Now, I did say in the beginning of the game, or the beginning of the bracket games, that I had the Thunder and I had the Cavs through the first. So I'll just continue it off there, and then we'll start up a new session.
All right. Cool.
Awesome.
All right, let me sort through my 415 tabs I have open.